How's everyone doing? How are we doing? Gonna give everyone just a little bit of time to filter in. I am almost not late. I consider within 5 minutes of start time on time. Yes, I do. We have some exciting things to talk about today. We do. Yes, we do. So I hope you all have liked my streaming so far. It's gonna get a little bit more interesting. Hopefully, I know I've been messing around. Hopefully, people have liked that. But I'm gonna be really working on assembly line in the future. Probably a lot. A lot of these days are gonna be assembly line or Legion. Maybe my website. It still needs a little bit of help if you guys. If we're wanting to do a fun stream where I don't have to think real hard because I'm too stupid to know exactly, we might be doing the the website because it's not stressful to me at all. All right. We actually have some fun topics today. There's quite a few things that went down this week that we need to talk about. Some good, some bad, some ugly. Uh kind of got a lot of it. There wasn't a whole lot of news in the clouds. I know the week before we got the earnings in, which they didn't do quite as well as they expected. Some really expected themselves to do amazingly well. I think that's what like Google did really well, but it missed their expectations. But yeah. Hey Russell. So yeah, today we have a couple things. There's a couple things from the cloud, but not the cloud providers you guys might be thinking. I think there's a really good update from Cloudflare had an interesting incident, and I wanted to call it out because I think they handled it really well. Incidents will happen, and so far from what I've seen, they handled it really well. Microsoft also had an incident this week, two incidences to be exact. But I think the biggest one is going to be in the Go developer community. So we're going to talk about that. If you develop in Go, I predict telemetry will be mentioned today. Me just saying it right then. Okay, like I said, if you develop in Go, you're going to want to stick around because we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about how you deal with an open source community. And then we're going to talk about how not to deal with an open source community. Let me turn off the heater real quickly. Had to warm it up in here just a little bit. Yeah, Shadow Dragon, I did. I got it cut. Longest story short, it was time to get it cut. Hadn't gotten it cut for a while, and it was time. It was time. Especially this summer, I'm planning on being more active, riding my bike more, and the hair is sweaty. Not gonna lie. So, gonna be trying to do that. Yep. So. Yes, you were gone for a while. It's amazing, actually. Growing the hair out takes a while. It's cutting it off is about 1 day. Tears, but 1 day. All right, let's jump into this. I think you guys already got a little glimpse of what was happening. But yeah, it's been a while, Shadow Dragon. It's good to see you on. It has actually been a little while, so I'm happy to see. Has everybody liked Yeah, it's the newly employed Shadow Dragon. That is right. Congratulations. I'd like to think that I had a part in it. Doubt I did. Solid work on your part. If you have any questions on the new job, please feel free to ask in the Discord. All right. How's everyone liking the new news? Now, this is the first one. It's not on YouTube at all. I mean, it is being streamed to my secondary YouTube channel, which I need to actually work on. It is being streamed there, but it's not actually going to my main YouTube channel. And I've been changing it up a little bit. We talk a little bit more. I don't shotgun every piece of news that I could see. I'm trying to pick out the highly important ones, like telemetry. We're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about our two security things first. And by two, I actually mean three. Let's talk about our three security things up first. All right, so we have this we have a ransomware of ESXi our servers. And there was this is a ransomware. They encrypt your stuff. You can't get to it anymore, and you've got to pay them. Well, the FBI and CISA have finally done something really good. I'm a little too critical. They do a lot of good stuff, but they're actually here, and they actually, if this is you, they have cracked the encryption, so they can help you decrypt your servers. So if you have VMware ESXi servers that got got encrypted, all hope isn't lost at this point. If you've already paid the ransomware, I'm sorry. Post the link, Shadow Dragon, to GitHub using Rust. I have covered it before, but there might have been something new that I missed, and we'll throw that on the end. That's one of the things I've wanted to do here is we'll have some time at the end to discuss, because I don't have a whole hour, which is good. We can sit and talk about things. This is one that I thought would, of all the CVEs that I saw, this is one that I thought would have the widest impact. SSH 9.1 had a double free vulnerability during options key algorithm handling, which is basically during their handshake, simplifying that a little bit. But the thing is, it was a remote code execution error, and it was possible with the default with an unauthenticated user. So basically, an unauthenticated attacker could remotely execute code on your server as root. It got a 9.8 because that's where most things that are full. We have seen 110, but again, a 10 is basically you say please and the server gives over everything. This actually requires a little bit of work. Now, I did look into it. There has been no proven instances that this has been leveraged. But if you're on 9.1, you need to upgrade to 9.2. It's been patched in 9.2. So go ahead and look at that. We have the NIST lightweight cryptography algorithms to protect small devices. I brought this one up because we're going to be doing in a few, probably in like 2 months, we're going to be doing some stuff around some very small devices, Internet of Things. I'm going to be making some videos on it. And the problem with these devices is they don't have the power to do real cryptography. I say real cryptography. Obviously, this is real cryptography, but the really, really strong cryptography takes resources. So they have gone through and found some and basically picked some of these NIST approved for IoT devices, which what I'm really, really hoping is that they'll take these NIST approved ones and they'll do some hardware acceleration, make a really cheap penny hardware accelerated device, and actually just start baking those onto things like Raspberry Pis. If it costs me 5 cents more and then I don't have to take a performance hit, that's what I'd like to start seeing. And it will be a while before that happens, but yeah. Oh, the GitHub code search is today. I wasn't. We'll talk about the GitHub code search. I already have that up here. That's right here. The technology behind GitHub's. I didn't know that that's what you're talking about. But yep, nope, we haven't talked about it yet. We'll talk about it in a bit. All right, who wants to talk about telemetry? And this isn't what you're going to think about when you think about telemetry, because you probably automatically thought open telemetry. You probably automatically thought Prometheus. You probably thought about your microservice right now that's burning down in production while you watch this show. If that is you, this show is recorded. You can go take care of production. That's probably what you thought. Some of you that have watched this show for a while might actually think about Ubiquity and their big scandal with telemetry. The Raspberry Pis are now like ancient artifacts from a sci-fi show. Yeah, Raspberry Pi stock is garbage right now, honestly. I mean, I'm hoping that it's just a lot of people are buying it, but I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. 2040 for India. Sorry, Shadow Dragon. Well, you know what, Shadow Dragon? There might be a way for you to get a free one shipped to you. I would say watch my videos as they land. There might be some possible way for you to get a testing device shipped to you. Shipping to India is gonna not be fun. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about telemetry. There was a discussion on the Golang Go project. It won't be a Raspberry Pi. You're absolutely right. It won't be a Raspberry Pi, but it'll be a Raspberry Pi-esque device. Raspberry Pi-esque. That's a fantastic shirt, but yeah. Go. Let's get back to Go. Go. Go is attempting to make their own Ubiquity problem, to be honest. The language. Again, Ubiquity, like 2 years ago, Shadow turned on telemetry. Now, I generally like Ubiquity. They've made missteps, and they're not perfect, and they definitely made missteps. But Shadow turned on telemetry a couple, maybe it was like 2 years ago. It was opt out, but they turned it on without anybody knowing. Go telemetry like a bad Inspector Gadget. That needs to be a shirt. Yes, it does. Okay. Thank you for the shirt idea. That's fantastic. So here is the pull request, or not a pull request, but the discussion. It is locked because it got so hard downvoted so quickly. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you guys, but you can see the downvotes here. All right. How do software developers understand which part of their software are being used and whether they are performing as expected? Now, a lot of this, I would say, is by having issues, by having discussion boards where people can post and vote on what they need. We've actually talked about this. Russell and I have talked about this on how we want to do assembly line. We really want community feedback, and we want a way for people to vote on the backlog of things that are most important to them. So there's definitely ways to do it without telemetry. Now, I'm not actually against telemetry. What I dislike, and what I think they got the most flack for, was telemetry would be fine, but make it opt-in. And the problem is, it's opt-out. So Go's new telemetry that they're doing in, and that they are pushing through. That was the resolution that I got through reading through 3/4 of this. I did skip some of the name calling and other things. My understanding is that they are going forward with it as of this time. Um, we'll go to the blog post. And this is the blog post. Let me actually post this in chat so you guys can read it for yourself if you like. I'm trying to get good about throwing these things in chat. You know what will be nice and what I need to do is I need to make a bot command for Twitch and the likes where you can do like exclamation links for the news section and it will give you the links. Maybe even like the ones that I'm currently on. That would be actually pretty cool. We'll have to think about how we would implement something like that. But I think that would be really nice for this section. But for right now, I'll post them in. Anyways, those are the links. You can read them if you like. Personally, I'm not against telemetry. I actually opt in to a decent amount of telemetry because I myself, as a developer, know the difficulties of trying to understand how and why things go wrong, why and all of that. And so for me, it's not the fact that it's telemetry, but it's that they were very adamant that it was opt out telemetry. Which means, and to their credit, they are correct. They will get fewer people opting in if they did an opt in. They will get much fewer people that actually give them that type of telemetry. 100%. But that's the other thing is, and this is a big thing for me, is open sourcing something. Go doesn't need to be open source. The language doesn't need to be open source. I could use Go with it not being open source as long as it was licensed for me to use it like I've been using it. The thing is, you have a community. And when your community does this, and this is not even as bad as some of the things like this. And the entire discussion. When your community is there telling you this, you should say, okay, we made a mistake. My bad. We made a mistake. And we're gonna update it. Because open sourcing Go is about community. And right now, Google, I keep this PG. I think this is PG ish. This is gonna be PG-13. PG-13. Google is doing this to the entire Go community if they push this forward. That's what they're doing. They're saying, in the end, we don't care what you think. We don't care. And that's the biggest shame about this. The biggest shame about this. Shadow Dragon, I am new to the use case of telemetry. Please describe how little or how is it good or bad? Telemetry is amazing. Telemetry is amazing. If you can get telemetry and you can get good telemetry, it is absolutely phenomenal. It's going to tell you what the most used features are. It's going to tell you the most failure cases. It's going to tell you all these types of things. Open telemetry is a good place to start. Telemetry is good. Telemetry is the backbone of any SaaS offering. If you offer a software as a service, it is core to it. Now, putting it in something like Go is also fine. Like I said, I understand the drive towards it. You just can't give your entire community the middle finger and say, we want it in. Absolutely. Google is 100% still maintaining Go. I don't. I almost guarantee you every single one of these is a member of Google. It doesn't say where they work. Why is the community going against it? Because they're saying that it's on by default. So that means if you don't take steps to turn it off, they're going to be doing it without your permission. They're not asking for permission. They're telling you can stop. That's like me selling you a phone and saying you can ask me not to listen to your calls, but by default I'm going to listen to your calls. That's what they're doing. But yes, Google is still the maintainer of Go. It is open source. And they do have community outside, and I don't have the metrics for exactly how many, but I believe that the majority of leadership is still Google. And I mean, this kind of proved it because the community was against it. So we can look at it some more if you want. This post here is not wrong. I think the only big difference that I would make is that it's an opt-in, which again is going to give you less data, and yeah, but you can look at their detailed design here. It should be off by default. Yep. Anyways, now this is not as bad as Ubiquiti Shadow turning it on, for sure. But that was basically what Ubiquiti did was, hey, we're gonna sell you this phone, and we're not gonna tell you this, but you can turn off telemetry if you'd like. Actually, I don't even think it was turn offable. Like, it wasn't even opt out. It was just like, yeah, we started doing telemetry, and it's now an opt out. That was a blunder on their part. A huge blunder on their part. I still use Ubiquiti. I think it's the best that I can get for my home. As like a prosumer, like not gonna charge me for all my kidneys, and an arm and a leg. I think it's the best that I can get for the price range. But if there was a good competition, I might drop because of that. All right. That's really the big stuff. We have some cloud news now. Now, actually, we're going to cover more in cloud news about GitHub and Cloudflare than we are the other ones. The big clouds, there wasn't a whole lot other than some outages from Azure. Azure outages. This has not been a good week, 2 weeks for them. They had a pretty big outage, and then they had some small outages this week. So, anything else you guys would like to talk about? Telemetry. I am going to work on the next couple of days or next couple of weeks. I'm going to try to get some art for the stream. So we'll have a few more little things here. Been watching some of the professional streamers. They have some animations on the screen if there's a possible new follower. I don't have that. So we'll work on that. All right, let's jump into the cloud. From Azure, there wasn't a whole lot here. We're just gonna jump through the major clouds really quickly, and then we'll move on. There wasn't a whole lot that I saw particularly interesting that happened between last week and this week. We already covered the Azure load testing, which I think is actually a really cool thing that Azure has. But yeah, anyways, nothing else really. There was some new data center in region in Saudi Arabia. So if If that's you, that's you. Um, on Microsoft's side, though, they did have this availability outage. They also had a minor outage in Southeast Asia as well. I don't follow their Southeast Asian data centers very well because it's a little bit harder to find information on the Chinese data centers. But I do know that there was like a heating problem and a power failure. And then there was also this from Microsoft 365. Now, I didn't see that this was an Azure outage, but a lot of the times when Azure has an outage, you'll see things like Teams and Microsoft 365 get hit. I think this was just a Microsoft 365 problem, though who knows if there was a small minor Azure outage. I couldn't find one though. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the Azure stuff. From Google, yeah, Teams got hit in India. That was probably their. So what happened in the Southeast Asia was, I think it was pretty much in 2020 they had the same problem. Google, Microsoft, and AWS, I think, all went down in 2020 when there was that heat wave. And I think in Southeast Asia they had a power failure at a power plant, and like there was just a couple small problems that led to their whole server, their whole region going down. Yeah, so Microsoft 365 not guaranteed to actually be 365 days. Now, it said that it's going to play an ad in just about in just a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can't go ahead and force that ad. I don't want to talk through it. There's nothing I can do. I told it to push ads off as long as possible. So there's gonna be a couple of ads coming up. Sorry about that. Let's see if I can't tell it to go ahead and just, you know, get it over with. All right, so yeah, we're gonna do the 3-minute ad now. Let's hope it's a Microsoft 365 ad. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and do them now so that I know that we have 3 minutes. It's gonna be a 3-minute break, and then we'll come back to the news and we'll jump right into Google. I guess it says that it will. Yeah, okay. The ad's in progress. Um, yeah, if you subscribe with Prime, I'm only telling a Prime subscriber, but if you subscribe with Prime, you don't get the ad. That's right. I do appreciate that, Russell. I really do. Thank you. I've been trying to bring stuff of value, and those little things are meaningful. It says that an ad is in progress, Shadow Dragon. It says it's in progress for another 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Wait, I can probably bring this up on screen. Here we go. For those of you who are not getting an ad, let me show you what I see. So see, it says ad in progress. And this is like the next one. I figured it wasn't lying to me, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Oh, Shadow Dragon, you are robbing me of my like. I get like a penny per viewer of ad, and your ad blocker is robbing me. Ah, very nice, very nice. It's a good ad blocker. Which ad blocker do you use? Let me know. This is part of the if you weren't here 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, the FBI basically said because of rampant abuse of, basically hackers are now paying for customers. And so what they'll do is uh, they'll go to, can you guys hear that cat? It's not actually dying, but it wants outside. So the FBI basically gave a recommendation that because what happens is these hackers are going to Google, making an ad for AWS, paying for that ad space, and basically redirecting people to a hacked AWS page, or I think it's probably more likely a bank. So like Bank of America, and they actually do that. So the FBI came out and recommended people use ad blocker when using Google. That was basically their recommendation on how to safely use Google. And you know what I've always said, and I wish Google would do? I hardly click on ads anyways. They should allow me to pay $10 to not have ads. I don't know what the price would have to be. I don't know what their average customer gets them. But anyways, I don't know. That's what I wish they would do. All right. You've been safe for now. Bank of America. That's right. That's right. Not one child in middle school teased me that way. All right. Let's America. That was the worst nickname. Actually, that's not the worst nickname that I ever got. Let's jump back onto Google. Should be done now. All right. So Google didn't have anything that I saw really stand out. There was their immersive stream for XR, where there's some GPU host to render and stream high quality photorealistic experiences to millions of mobile devices around the world. It is now generally available. We did cover this when it first came out, basically allowing you to stream high quality video. So that's pretty nice. There was also some stuff around cloud workstations. I don't really do cloud workstations. I find like buying into these platforms are usually a bad experience for everyone. I do know I used cloud workstations a long time ago that actually worked pretty well when I was in the healthcare industry, where basically for HIPAA reasons and whatnot, it was easier to just be like, no data's on my laptop, and I just remote session and remote desktop, and that was easier as a whole. And then we have Google Cloud Deploy now supports Cloud Run targets and general availability. So I am going to have to go take care of this cat. I am so sorry. I will be right back. Shouldn't have let them down here. All right. I'm glad you guys got to read this. I didn't really make it large enough for you to read, but, you know. To safely use Google, they recommend completely destroying their business model. Yes, actually, that is 100% true. I can find it. Let me find it really quickly. I am not lying. Every once in a while, I unintentionally deceive, but this time it's not. All right, so they do a couple of things. It's not just ad blocker. So these are their recommendations here. Before clicking on advertisement, check the URL to make sure the site's authentic. So, kind of make sure the site's authentic. Rather than search for a business or financial institution, type the business URL into the internet browser. I think this one's actually a bad one. This one I would actually argue against because there's fat fingering for one, where you accidentally type something really close but not exactly, and that's actually known to be an attack vector. Um, yeah, basically she was then standing on my laptop's keyboard. So sorry about the cat break. I do need like a button to switch to a cat break. Um, if you don't give her attention, she gets really annoying. Uh, I actually think that this one's maybe a little dangerous, especially because like you can also search from the browser bar. So like if you just type Bank of America, that's actually going to give you a search. Uh, anyways, and then their last one is use an ad blocker extension when performing internet searches. So yeah, the FBI basically said Google's business model is one fraught with peril. Again, I would prefer if there was a good search engine out there that let me pay for it. I would do that. None have gone down that path, and maybe not enough people would, I guess. But then give them both options. Be like, you can support it with ads, or you can support it with, you can support it with ads, or you can support it with paying, and we won't track anything. That would be amazing. So yeah, anyways, we covered this a little bit ago, but yeah, that was basically what happened. Now, there was some bigger Google news. Not just was there a catastrophe, catastrophe. That's about what we had. But I'm sorry, that was a horrible pun. They had even a worse week when it comes to their stock market. And it basically came down to this. A robot's $100 billion error alphabet share tank after its ChatGPT rival makes a mistake in its very first ad. What made this bad? We all know that ChatGPT is wrong. If you watched my stream when I use it to try to do something, it's wrong, and I can actually make it be wrong pretty easily. That doesn't mean that what it does isn't fantastic. It's just that you can't take what it says for sure. And the other thing is, it says it with such confidence. Oh, if you would like to feel the sensation of flying, you should just go jump off a skyscraper. And you're just like, wow, okay, don't do that. Please, don't do that. That's not the way to experience weightlessness. But you know, it says it with such conviction. You're just like, oh, okay, that must be the right answer, and it's just wrong. Anyways, the funny part here was that they recorded a video. This wasn't a live demo. This wasn't it in people's hands. This was a marketing video where it claimed that the Webb telescope discovered the first exoplanet. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me off the top of my head. Maybe I'm telling you false news. But they recorded, their marketing department recorded a video of them asking it questions and didn't fact check. That was the blunder here. That was the blunder. Nothing else. Everything else in the ad looked fine to me, just that they spewed fake news. Everything's about the Webb telescope these days. Tell you what. Some pretty pictures, don't get me wrong. All right. Let's talk about AWS. AWS didn't actually have a whole lot. Announcing enhanced I/O multiplexing for Amazon Elasticache for Redis. So basically, if you update to Redis 7 from Redis 6, you get pretty much amazingness from 72% increased throughput and 71% decreased P99 latency. This is a pretty big deal. And it's not even something that you pay for. It's just included in Redis 7. So for the same node, you're getting better throughput and better P99, because Redis has some pretty terrible P99s, and that almost sounds like a tax form. Yep, Redis Labs have some pretty terrible P99s when they enter it in. This is like the tax form of software developers. Your P99 nines. Anyways, so your tail latencies are going to improve, and so is your throughput. So I really would say that if you use Redis, which you probably shouldn't, maybe that's me being biased, maybe that's just me stating fact, you should upgrade to Redis 7. Other than that, I didn't see a whole lot of stuff. There is some new. They released their like the M6i instances are now in the AWS Asia Pacific. There was another region that got some. Oh yeah, the X2 IDN instances are now available in the Zurich region. So there was a couple expansions of that. There's a couple small little things like the Amazon EC2 auto scaling instance refresh now supports rollback. That's good. But yeah, I didn't find anything too interesting on those. Did anybody else see anything really interesting in the clouds? I also just want to say thanks everybody for joining. I hope that you are enjoying the stream. Remember, I do stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's later in the evening for the Americas. But I also stream on Saturday mornings. We program, we do some fun stuff. We're going to be working really hard on assembly line. If you don't know what that is, you probably should join the Saturday stream so you know what assembly line is in the future. All right, if nobody else has any other cloud news, we're going to move on to GitHub, and then we'll move on to Cloudflare. All right. Now, GitHub they announced some changes to their offices. I can bring up articles on that. They're letting go some people. I believe it's 10% of staff, and they're going full remote. So they're closing down their offices altogether and going completely remote. So they are going over. They are doing that. So yeah. We're going to talk about some of those layoffs in a little bit. There's a few new ones. The GitHub one is one. The GitLab one as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about those, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. For right now, I'd like to talk about Wakatime. Wakatime is now a GitHub secret scanning partner. So Dependabot and some other things like Dependabot scan for secrets in your code to help stop you from leaking secrets in your GitHub. Wakatime is also like that. We have partnered with Wakatime to scan for their tokens and help secure mutual users on public repositories. What this means is if you're using Wakatime and you've accidentally checked your Wakatime token into your GitHub, GitHub can automatically revoke that token. So GitHub will forward access tokens found in public repositories to Wakatime, who will immediately revoke the leaked token and email the token's owners with instructions on next step. You need more. So basically, their Dependabot integration that searches for these secrets. They have a group of people, and they're expanding this, where if they find that person's secret in your code, they can go ahead and revoke that immediately for you. So this is actually really nice. It just brings you a layer of automatic security. So this is only on public repositories, so they're not going to automatically revoke if you do store secrets in Git. If you do, they should still be encrypted. You should still be encrypting them. Like, please don't store them in plain text, but private repositories aren't getting the same thing. So you use Wakatime a lot? Cool. You like it? All right. This is what Shadow Dragon. Wakatime. Sounds like the Fozzie Bear's catchphrase. Wakatime. I'm not gonna do that voice. All right. I get it though. I agree. So I believe this is what Shakira. The technology behind GitHub's new code search. So GitHub has been releasing a new way to search code in the browser, which I think is gonna be pretty awesome. At least from what I've seen, it's actually pretty fantastic. They already had some code search. Like if you went into a well-indexed project like Kubernetes, you could actually search their code fairly well. But other projects like probably Assembly Line or Legion or some of those, it didn't work so well in, and it was kind of rough. So they have a whole new code searching implementation. Yes, at this point it is generally available. I haven't actually used it. I didn't get into the beta trial, so I haven't actually gotten to use it a ton. But what I've seen from it, it's really solid. I got on the beta, and it is good. Yeah, I've seen it, or I've heard, and I've seen some people, and it seems really good. They did really they gave a talk at GitHub Universe, and I think what everybody here is most excited about, they did their own search engine from scratch in our favorite language. In our favorite language. So, you know what I wish that they would do? And maybe they did, but I don't think that they have. They should open source it. I guess it's probably just a lot of glue stuff together, so probably not one, like they could have their search engine, but really for the whole thing, it's like the search engine, the query engine, the Git, the shards. Yeah, I don't know if it even makes sense to open source, but that would be an interesting. So, anyways, here's this article. I'm going to drop this in chat. It's a good read. It's good read. It's actually kind of amazing what they were able to accomplish. I feel like this type of stuff here is like the stuff that we all like working on. Not that we get to work on this, but this is like the fun and exciting things that you look forward to working on. Yeah. But check this out. They used Rust in the example. I really think that Rust is starting to hit prime time. I'm really starting to think like the only reason I still have holdouts with Go is that there are a lot more projects written for it. Just even things like all of the Moby stuff that's out there that you can just use and is easy. But I think that's quickly being wrong. And the language as a whole is just it doesn't have the opt out telemetry free. Rust should put that on their website, telemetry free, right across the website. That would be fantastic. All right, let's talk about the blunder from my favorite cloud. They blundered. They blundered big. They made a big blunder. And do you know what they did? You know what they did? Instead of blaming whatever, they took responsibility. This is why I like Cloudflare. This right here is the reason I like Cloudflare. How Cloudflare erroneously throttled a customer's web traffic. They didn't, even in their title, the thing that's going to be web scraped, they didn't even try to hide the fact. They didn't say how Cloudflare's customer accidentally got no. They erroneously throttled a customer's web traffic. This is how you deal. You know what? This customer, if it was me, I would probably be a customer for life. They didn't say who the customer was. Over the years, when Cloudflare has had an outage that affected our customers, we have very quickly blogged about what happened, why, and what we're going to address to cause the outage. Today's post is a little different. It's about a single customer's website not working correctly. So what happened? If you read this, it's not a long read, but it's a good read. I'm going to post it in chat. Definitely read this one. It's not a long read, but what happened was basically they have this rule. If you're on a free account, you're not allowed, like, so the Null Web is on a free account. So I'm not allowed to do like image up, like I'm not allowed to host an image server. That would be a lot of traffic for them for free. Yeah, it's image and video plans. They actually have plans for traffic for those that you can go sign up for. Not even angry about this. They provide a lot of free things that I currently leverage. And so what happens is if they detect large amounts of bandwidth on the free accounts, they will throttle you. The thing is, their customer wasn't on the free account, was paying, was in good standing with them, and an engineer accidentally throttled them. Now, I say an engineer accidentally. I think they meant to throttle them, but they didn't know that they shouldn't be throttling them. Because I guess that there was like a strange, I think this is what it was. Basically, all of a sudden their usage was spiking, and so they thought that was something that they were doing wrong or bad. They didn't actually go over how long it took them to figure out what was going on. I'm gonna say maybe an hour and a half from the graphs. But they take in very clear regards. Let's be very clear on this action. Cloudflare does not have an established process to throttle customers that consume large amounts of bandwidth and does not intend to have one. This remediation was a mistake. It was not sanctioned, and we deeply regret it. I think this right here is why I like Cloudflare. Oh, 12 hours and 53 minutes they were throttled. $12 minutes and 53 seconds. It was a cryptocurrency website. I don't know. I didn't dig for it. They didn't say who it was. Oh, TARDIS. I guess I could have like dug for that. Anyways, I guess my point is that they messed up, but they actually took good credit for it. And then they explained how they messed up, and then they went on to say what processes they were going to get put in place to make sure that this didn't happen again. They also didn't throw their dev under the bus. I think that, honestly, messing up is part of life, and you learn from those mistakes. This engineer is going to think twice before they do anything like that again. And they're going to put processes in place that they can't, there has to be approvals for throttling. And stuff like that, so that this can't happen again. This is how you deal with mistakes. You talk about them. What do you mean they did? TARDIS is still using Cloudflare. As far as I know that they are. I mean, I don't. I haven't messaged them. I suppose we could snoop around on their website just a little. if I'm not throttled. Hey man, their website's fast. This is a classic Cloudflare. Cloudflare does a really good job of that edge. Um, your website will load pretty fast. Cool. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, they messed up. But beyond messing up, they actually released some other stuff as well. So we have this. I mentioned this previously. They have D1 coming out. And I thought D1 was like you could actually start using it, and then I found out that you couldn't start using it. And D1 is basically their distributed database, SQL-ish database. I say SQL-ish. Pretty sure it's an SQL database, but it's supposed to be distributed. It's not production ready, but they released this piece of news. Update SuperCloud set status open alpha where product equals D1. I do love this title for it. It just makes me feel like a little child. All right. So it's now in open alpha. It's not production ready, but this means that one of these evenings, if you guys would like me to test it out, we can test out the open alpha. So yeah. Anyways, cool. But they didn't stop there. They have released Wildebeest. Wildebeest? Wildebeest. Not Wildebeest. Wildebeest. If you guys don't know what the Fediverse is, it's like the Federation Metaverse. I think that's what it is. The Federated Metaverse. Mastodon is the big one. And this is Wildebeest is Mastodon. Basically, it's kind of a self-hosted Mastodon. So you get the power and the expertise of Cloudflare to host your own Mastodon server. If you want to host one, they basically have a simple button for it. But the cool thing about it is it's not a fully managed one. So if you actually want to update how it runs, you can. If you want to add plugins, you can. I think that this is like kind of a cool idea. I'm not a big Mastodon person. I'm not a big Twitter person. Not a big social media person. But maybe I should be. Maybe I should have a wildebeest. I'm thinking about it. I don't know how much it will cost to run a wildebeest, or if people would even want it. But if you are thinking about it and want to host it somewhere, here's a place. And that's it for my cloud news. I have just a few other little things. We have a few layoff announcements that are going out. We have a competitor to GitHub's Copilot. We have an article called "How We Choked Our Kubernetes Node.js Services." The problem, Node.js, but you know, we won't tell them that. And then yeah, we have a few layoffs to talk about. What do you guys think about the Fediverse? I'm a little skeptical. But I don't know. Generally, what I find is only a very small group of people actually want to own their servers. Very small group of people. And then it's actually expensive to run at scale. So if you got a Mastodon server that had, 100,000 people on it, or 1 million people on it, I don't know how you would pay for it at that point. And then because they're smaller servers, it's more broken up. I'm just not sure. I think it's actually cool for small communities like the Null channel. We have a Discord already, so I don't understand how it would provide me more than what I already get with our Discord server. Maybe it would. Yeah, I'm just not sold on it, I guess. Mastodon is a mess. Thousands of mini dictatorships with Stack Overflow mobs. Yeah, but this is kind of my point. I just don't understand. Yeah, and it's hard. The social media problem is a hard one. So yeah. Now, if you've been looking to get into cybersecurity, if you're wanting to up your skill, if you're trying to make sure that you still have a job, then I have something for you that is really cool. I don't know this company very well, but I did see this and it looks pretty cool. Again, I haven't watched this content for myself, but we've made, and by we, I mean Cyberray, uh, Cybre, maybe Cybre. We made 500 hours of content free to address the cybersecurity skills shortage. Um, so basically, they made a bunch of content available for free. You have to register and get an account with them. Um, but so they're probably going to market to you, but I think that this is pretty good, pretty cool. I guess it has everything from beginners all the way up to advanced practitioners. I think this is cool. So I'm going to drop this link in chat just in case anybody's out there is wanting to level up. I think I'm going to go through a few of the beginner ones at least. Because I feel like every engineer should take security seriously themselves. And so I think like anytime, even if security is not going to be your main thing, being able to hold your own on it is important. Because even just with stuff like, uh, I'm going to say like Mastodon, even if you're not running the server, somebody's running the server, and their users are vicariously your users because you work on the project. And if you leak their data by doing a bad practice that you could have easily learned, I mean, that's the type of responsibility I take and I push for my teams to take. Security is everybody's responsibility. I expect my children to lock the door when they come back inside. That security is their responsibility. They're expected to do it. Do they have all the security expertise in securing a home? No, but, they learn. This is maybe not a great analogy, but oh, now would be a good time to mention, not sponsored, absolutely not sponsored, but DuckDuckGo does provide protected emails. So DuckDuckGo, if you want to reach out to me, if you want to sponsor this news segment, you know me, hopefully you don't know where I live. Maybe you know where I live. Chat has been trying to figure out, but you do know where I am, and that is actually a good thing to mention. Thanks, Russell, for pointing that out. GitHub Actions is getting not GitHub Actions. I've been thinking of GitHub Actions way too much in the last week, but GitHub Copilot, which I'm going to be releasing a video here soon, is by far the best code generation. I've been trying Amazon's Code Whisperer and Tab9 and GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot is by far the best one out there. Yeah, DuckDuckGo might pinpoint me. It might. There's a new competitor, and they just raised a metric butt ton of money. So Magic, a startup developing a code generating platform similar to GitHub Copilot, today announced that it had raised $23 million in a Series A funding led by Alphabet's Capital G with some other people. So this is looking to basically bring a GitHub Copilot competitor out there. So we'll have to watch it. Maybe I'll have to update my video once I make this video and it's awesome. We'll see if it's awesome or not. All right, how we choked our Kubernetes Node.js services. I think that this is a thing I'm going to have to make a video on. Not their specific story, but I have seen this problem so many times and I thought I would talk about it. And what it boils down to is what you initially request and what your pod can consume are different. There are limits and there are requests. The base request is not the same as its limit. Not the same. And so it's very easy for you to do things that just don't work out. And what happens is that then scheduling will stop if there's not enough memory. So there's this fine balance of what it's going to request, because if you say that it reserves 50 gigs, or let's do something more reasonable. Let's say your server has 10 gigs and your apps request 5 gigs and you're like, oh, I can stack 2 of these in there. But let's say for some reason the one that's on that node already uses 5.5 gigs of memory. Now, the scheduler cannot schedule another node because it say that by minimum I need 5 gigs. And that's where your problem comes in. And if all of your things, you're going to have half of your efficiency because it's not going to schedule, it's going to scale to another node. And this is going to either cost you a lot, or if your scaling doesn't scale automatically, it's going to cost you some downtime or slowness or sluggishness. So I'm going to post this. I'm not going to reread their whole thing for you. I think it is a fantastic article as just a general read if you're into Kubernetes. I do want to make a video on this though, because I think I've seen so many articles like this that I think a lot of people actually run into it. And so I think there needs to be a video that's like this source of truth for people to go to. That's just in general with some demonstrations and stuff. So, all right, the last 2 things that we have here, both of the big open source code providers, GitLab and GitHub, are going to lay off staff. So GitHub said 10%. I think GitLab is 7%. Yeah, 7%. So I think those were the last ones this week. I didn't think I saw any others. On top of that, GitHub is transitioning to a full remote. So they're closing their offices down. It's kind of interesting. The GitHub one specifically surprised me. I know that we're seeing a slowdown in cloud spend and things like that as customers are trying to look at cost and whatnot. But the thing that surprised me about GitHub specifically was that it's part of Microsoft. And I know that it operates somewhat independently of Microsoft, but I say somewhat. It's not independent of Microsoft. And Microsoft already did its layoffs. But I guess this kind of proves that it works more independently than I thought it was. It seems like it works pretty independently. It's doing its own layoffs as well as its own office thing. So Microsoft is not a full remote company. And GitHub is going to full remote. So yeah, I guess it's still quite a bit more independent than I thought it was. Yeah. So how's everyone doing? How are people liking the new news? It's a little bit more freeform, a little bit more discussing the things going on. Do you guys all like it? Is it all right that it's on Twitch? There are 2 people that consistently watched my other ones after like after they were recorded, and they didn't comment on my other videos, and so I'm always super afraid that they didn't move over. Long-term supporters too, so I'm gonna put a message on there. That being said, I would like to raid somebody. If you guys want to stick around for a raid, we're gonna try to find somebody in the same group of people. Either somebody doing some CI/CD, some Kubernetes, some I don't know. Let's see, software. A lot of these people are doing game stuff. I'm not good at games. Let's see. I can share my screen. You guys tell me if there's somebody you'd like to raid. We'll try to raid somebody. That is the Twitch thing to do. It's good citizen. We'll find somebody interesting. We need to find some people so that we can then raid those people. Okay, let's find somebody about the same stream numbers that I have, so like 10 or less. There's some here. This person speaks 3 languages. I barely know English. This one's doing Go. This is a high contender. High contender doing Go. We do Go. I know Russell will hate this one. Well, let me know how you liked it, Shadow Dragon. Leave me a comment in the Discord. Just let me know how I can make it better for everybody. And do remember, I do other live streams as well, so you're more than welcome to join that. This one's Golang. That's promising. It'll make Russell a little upset, which also is it makes me happy. We're just gonna try to raid this person. Keybind. All right. All right. Everybody ready? Thanks everyone for joining. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun.